Beautiful, beautiful people. We are back on your screen. You're watching Highly Opinionated, episode 93. I'm your co-host, Josh, ladies and gentlemen. My guy, best co-host in the game, the host of the Club JG podcast. My good brother. Welcome back, JG. How was your vacation, brother? Nice to see you.
Fellas, how we feeling, bro? You know what I mean? Like, hey, it's nice to have a vacation every now and then. It's rare with the big boss right here. I'm sorry, I always did the same thing you always do. The big boss right here, you know what I'm saying? Like, you get a vacation, it's rare, so you got to take advantage of that. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't get a lot of them. So I definitely took full advantage of my vacation. I don't know what you guys did, but there was a lot of ocean air for me, and there's a lot of distractions, but good distractions, if you know what I'm saying.
Well, JG, a lot can change in a month. You know that, right? You know a lot can change in a month. So
That is very true.
yeah, absolutely. A lot can change in a month. I enjoyed my vacation. It's just in life, ups and downs. You feel me? Take the good with the bad. Ladies and gentlemen, the most important guy here on the show, the guy that is responsible for that new, beautiful, great intro that you saw. Ladies and gentlemen, the best guy here on this show. Let's give him a standing ovation for that. Ladies and gentlemen,
Got me hyped.
the great Ross. How are you, sir?
Thank you. I'm good. Welcome back, fellas. How you feeling?
We are good to be back, man. It's always good to be in the presence of greatness, man. How was your vacation, brother?
It was good, as you see and will you see throughout the show. I had a vacation, but behind the scenes, you don't really stop. So we definitely got some nice new sponsors and logos, and as you see the background. So yeah, I'm just excited for the world to get to see it finally.
Yeah, we've been holding these new additions to Highly Opinionated. We got some more additions as you guys will see throughout the season. So truly excited for this new version of Highly Opinionated. I wouldn't even say new version, just comeback version of Highly Opinionated. So we appreciate you guys for all your support. We want to thank you guys for tuning in to episode 92 with the great Brandon Green. Shout out to B Green. He's doing great things. Can't wait to go out and watch his team play this year. So continuously do great things, B Green. And you got a fan in us here on Highly Opinionated. Ross, let the people know where they can follow us at on our social medias.
You can follow us on Instagram at highly opinionated __. Follow us on TikTok at highly opinionated _SS. Follow us on Twitter or X at highly O _SS. And of course, y'all already on YouTube, so make sure you like, subscribe, and leave a comment.
We appreciate all the follows, the likes, the subscriptions. It means the world to us. And we aim to be the best sports show out. So we definitely engage with comments. And if you love sports, you have a passion for sports, you have a product that you want to promote, Highly Opinionated is the place for you. JG, it's been a long time. Ready to get episode 93 started.
Man, the boys are back, man. Let's get it, dog. The boys are back.
Let's get to work. As I drop my phone. Ladies and gentlemen, bear with us. You feel me? First time back. You feel me? A little nervous over here. Let's start off with since we've been gone.
Since you've been gone.
Yeah, it's been a long time since we've been gone. A lot of sports things have happened. Let's start off with the last major in golf. Ryan Fox, he won the Open Championship. He won the Open Championship with a score of -10. Round one, he shot a score of 72. Round two, he shot a score of 68. Round three, he shot a score of 62. And round four, he shot a score of 68. The Open Championship was played in Southport, England at Royal Birkdale Golf Club. Your thoughts on Ryan Fox winning the Open Championship?
One of the big majors of the year. We don't know a ton about Ryan Fox, but he definitely just put his name on the map for sure as one of the better golfers in the sport. So we're learning a lot more about him as we go. I'm sure we're going to see him compete and the next majors to come in this season and the following season.
Absolutely, for sure. Congratulations to Ryan Fox on winning the Open Championship. Ladies and gentlemen, our next topic, we are going to move on to a retirement in the NBA. NBA Hall of Famer, NBA legend Russell Westbrook called it a career. Russell Westbrook retires from the NBA after 18 seasons. He was a member of the NBA's top 75 all-time team, the team that they did a couple years ago. He was a 2017 NBA MVP, the 9-time NBA All-Star, 9-time NBA All-NBA. won Olympic, and he won one Olympic gold medal, and he has the all-time record for triple doubles. I'll start us off with this. It sucks when a legend or great player has to finish his career. Mostly, you can see the slippage. You can see what they were and what they are starting to become because of age. The one thing I never questioned about Russell Westbrook in today's era of load management, today's era of we're not going to play 3 games in 4 nights, we're not going to play back to back, that type of NBA lingo and NBA thought process because of analytics and front office. Front office is thinking that let's not waste a player in October, November, December. Let's try to save him for April, May, and June. If your team is blessed to get that far. Russell Westbrook never cheated the game. Never ever cheated the game. As a fan, as someone that comes home or goes to an arena to watch a game, he never cheated the game. Yes, he had deficiencies. Yes, he had flaws. His jump shot in today's era, playing in a three in space. I call it 3 in space. 3 in space game where you have to, basically you driving the kick to shoot to the corners for them to shoot open threes. That wasn't Russell Westbrook's strength. His strength was his heart. His strength was his passion. His strength was his athleticism. In my opinion, he was the most athletic point guard in NBA history. I think he's right here. Derrick Rose is right here. I would give it to slightly above Russ because Russ' career was longer. And Russ played with all-time great players. Played with Kevin Durant, James Harden in Oklahoma City. Played with James Harden in Houston. Played with James Harden with the Clippers. He played with Paul George with the Clippers and the Thunder. He played with Kawhi Leonard. He played with great players, Serge Ibaka, just to name a few. So, an all-time great player. Russell Westbrook, to me, is a top 5 point guard all the time, in my opinion. I know some might argue, some might have him, maybe ranked a little bit higher than that. Some might rank them, I think most people have him in the top 10. It's just about where you rank him at. But for me, a stellar career, and I salute Russell Westbrook. Never cheated the game. Never, ever cheated the game.
The impact for me tells me, how high you are in the all-time ranks. I have no problem with you putting Russell Westbrook as a top 5 point guard of all time. This man revolutionized the position of point guard, made us think differently of what we thought point guards should be. Point guards ain't supposed to do what Russell Westbrook did. Bodying dudes, going in to dunk on guys like that are 7-footers and all that. That's Russell Westbrook. Absolute. Him and Derrick Rose revolutionized the position. They changed the way we thought of it. That's not impact. I don't know what impact is. I echo how you feel. I'm sad. We were all what? We were in high school together when we watched Russell Westbrook get drafted by the then brand new Oklahoma City Thunder. Didn't know anything about these guys. We just knew that they came from Seattle and they became Oklahoma City's new team. Kevin Durant, Jeff Green, Kirk Heinrich, Nick Collison, those were the guys that were part of that team. We were slowly watching these guys just develop from the ground up. And, it's wild to you start feeling old, because I watched this guy from the beginning when he got drafted to see him retire, in my opinion, too early. I fully believe that Russell Westbrook would still very much help a contending team in the NBA. Fully believe that. He was never a shooter. We knew that. But it didn't mean that he couldn't help in some way, shape, or form. I thought he could help a contender, but reports were saying that he did have deals on the table with Sacramento and the Washington Wizards, 2 teams that weren't going anywhere. They're building their way up. I understand fully Russell Westbrook going out on his own terms. I get it. I do. As a fan, I'm sad to see it. I'm going to miss him, as you said, all-time leader in triple doubles. Just really, and I said this on Club JG. This may not be popular, but I'm going to say it. I thought Russell Westbrook's career took a bad left when he joined the LA Lakers with LeBron James and Anthony Davis. I remember when the rumors came out that this was possible. I hated it. I said, this is a terrible idea. It's not going to work because of how these guys play basketball. Everyone got on me and started laughing. You said, I don't know what I'm talking about. It's LeBron James. It's the savant. He'll figure it out. I said, no, you guys aren't listening to me, because it's not about, is LeBron James a basketball genius? We know that. But sometimes there's some players who don't fit. Russell Westbrook is a ball-dominant point guard, was a ball-dominant point guard. LeBron James is a ball-dominant point forward, or point whatever you want to put him at. And then you have Anthony Davis. That's three guys that, although are capable of knocking down threes, they were not 3-point shooters.
Exactly.
And as a result, there was a lack of spacing. Russell Westbrook ended up being the scapegoat in LA. I don't care what anybody says. He ended up being the scapegoat in LA for the issues that they had. He never should have went there. I thought his career took a bad left when he made that stop in LA. But regardless, I'm going to miss Russell Westbrook. Just like you said, never cheated the game, brought an energy, a tenacity, a dog mentality that is becoming more and more scarce by the year in the NBA. You know, one of the originals, like as I like to call them. And yeah, I just salute the guy. I salute the man. I salute the basketball player for everything he brought to the game and how he changed the way that we thought of the point guard position. So Russell Westbrook, thank you very much for everything that you've done for the game. We are going to miss watching you play, sir. And best of luck in your future endeavors.
Absolutely. We wish Russell Westbrook the best in retirement. For sure. For me, I know people are going to get on me for this. I think his career changed Game 5, Game 6, Game 7 of that 2016 Western Conference Finals. I think history would have looked at him a little bit differently because think about it. I don't know if they beat the 2016 Cavaliers in the finals. It would have been a very good matchup. You had KD and Russ against Kyrie and LeBron. Obviously, the Cavaliers had a little bit more with Kevin Love, James Harden. I said James Harden, Kevin Love, J.R. Smith, Richard Jefferson, etc. But I just think the way the Thunder basically collapsed and gave up that 3-1 lead, and then Kevin Durant left the Thunder and went on to the Warriors and won 2 straight finals. That to me, that was like the cherry on top to say like, oh, okay, the problem was Russell Westbrook. Whether fair or unfair, people were going to look at that. So I think those 3 games, listen, I'm never going to judge a career off 3 games. I think Russell Westbrook, again, is one of the top 5 point guards of all time. However, in history judging you, history judge moments. You get what I'm saying? They're not judging a career, they judge moments. So when you judge in moments, that Game 5, Game 6, and Game 7, 2016, that Western Conference Finals against the Warriors, when they had them down 3-1, and all they had to do was win one game, specifically Game 6, because that was in Oklahoma City, and they had them down, and Klay Thompson went nuclear. History would look at Russell Westbrook totally different if they would have won one of those games and advanced to the NBA Finals.
How much do a few games change the course of history? If they win, what if Kevin Durant never leaves? If they win that series against Golden State, do we know Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors as we know them today? You can look at that series. It changed the course of history with so many.
Well, at that point, Steph and them had 1 ring. They had won the championship.
Yeah, but would they be who they are today? Is what I'm saying. Like, you got to think about that, because think about it. If they win, I don't think Kevin Durant leaves, and I think the Thunder take LeBron and the Cavs to a tough series. I think they could win that. I think they would have had a legit chance, but it shaped it shaped just the history with so many good players. You just don't know. You just don't know how different it's been.
You don't. Like I said, a career should be defined from start to finish. But when you dissect a player's career, you're going to look at moments. And again, I look at Game 5, Game 6, and Game 7, 2016. You had them up, couldn't advance to the NBA Finals. And Russell Westbrook only played in 1 NBA Finals. He played in the 2012 NBA Finals when the Thunder lost to the Heat in 5 games. So salute to Russell Westbrook, stellar career. Thank you, Russ. You never cheated the game. And as an NBA fan, all I can do is salute you. So salute, brother. Congratulations on a hell of a career.
Sorry.
JG, our last topic. The Cleveland Browns have decided on who their starting quarterback will be. And his name is Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson and second-year quarterback Shedeur Sanders have been in a quarterback competition all offseason, going into training camp, well into training camp. Deshaun Watson, after their second preseason game, they lost to the Buffalo Bills at home. Here was Deshaun Watson post-game thoughts on how the fans of Cleveland has treated him.
Man, I didn't have no reaction. I think the biggest thing is, I think you guys know too, and I think the whole world knows. It has nothing to do about the performance. It's a little bit personal than that. So I think that's it's a disrespectful thing. So Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna keep whatever I feel with me and my family internally on how I feel about that. Um, and yeah, just move on.
But don't you think, Deshaun, that winning and playing better would eliminate some of that booing?
Um, Last time I played on this field, I tore my Achilles, and that same fan base they cheered when I got hurt. So does that have to do with what does that have to do with anything about performance? When a person get hurt, especially for your own city, and they cheer.
Does any of that make you regret coming here?
No, I don't regret anything in my life. I think the Lord put me through situations for a reason, so I don't regret anything at all. But you know, I had different thoughts on how it was going to be, but it is what it is. Um, sometimes the tables turn, and I'm patient enough because I'm a child of God to wait for that time to change. So I'm not tripping on it.
Here is Deshaun Watson Monday on his comments from Saturday's postgame.
I think just human nature, just myself being very emotional, putting a lot of time these last 2 years to get back and spend time in this facility in the city, meeting a lot of different people in the community. I thought I was going to get a little different response, but I think my emotions got the best of me, and my comments wasn't intending to go at any of the fans around in the city, because there's been a lot of great fans that have been supporting me, and I know the frustration this organization have put a lot of investment in coming to get me back in 22. And things haven't been going the right direction that we thought it was. A lot of injuries, a lot of time off, and not putting the best football and my foot forward. So, again, just, I understand the frustration. I understand everything that kind of goes into that. And moving forward, I just want to focus on football, making sure that, I'm putting the best product out there, having the best ability, because I thrive off the energy. I thrive off the energy of the fans. I thrive off the energy of the community. I thrive off all that stuff. I think looking back in my history at Clemson and, previous at the Houston organization, I was a big community guy, big city guy, big fan guy, during the game. So, again, my emotions got the best of me. I'm human. I take full responsibility of that. And, just moving forward, I want to make sure that I put the best product for the team, for the organization, and for the city so we can put a lot of wins and make sure that I celebrate and put Cleveland on the map. And that's why I put the helmet on my head and I put the uniform on my body, is to go out there and make sure I put my best foot forward. And that was one of the reasons why I chose this city, is to come and have a lot of wins with this community, with this city, and make sure that we on the right track so we can have a lot of, celebrations and a lot of excitement to go each and every Sunday. So, again, moving forward, I just want to make sure that, I can give the city something to, think about, in the first two games. And, when we come back home, we have something to cheer about and we can celebrate and, go do what we want to do. And that's achieve the ultimate goal and go win and, be a champion.
JG. The last person we need to hear from is the head coach of the Cleveland Browns. Here is Todd Monken on how he decided Deshaun Watson would be the Week 1 starter at Jacksonville.
Deshaun is going to start against Jacksonville. Took in the full body of work over the course of off-season to training camp to the games, the joint practice, and ultimately felt like to start the season on the road, Deshaun gave us the best chance to move the ball and score points. I mean, that's really what it's about. And felt that way going in the last game, but wasn't sure. And after we talked as a staff and after we re-looked at everything, we're going to go.
So, JG, your thoughts on the Cleveland Browns announcing Deshaun Watson will be the Week 1 starter at Jacksonville?
Got a lot to say here, man. So I'm gonna just buck up.
The floor is yours.
Back up a little bit. It's good to see you, bro. It's good to be back.
It's good to see. It's good to be back, man. How you been?
Man. There's a few things that don't change.
Oh man. Oh, what things don't change?
The city of Cleveland.
Oh,
It will never let you down. It will never not surprise you or give you something to laugh about.
Gotcha.
But this time I'm not going to laugh. I'm actually going to take this very serious.
Okay.
Since Deshaun Watson has taken over as the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns since 2022,
I'm sorry, cut you off. If you don't mind me asking, who did he take over for?
Took over for one Baker Mayfield, who since has gone on to Carolina and then now is done pretty well in Tampa Bay, I would say. You know, the last Cleveland quarterback to actually win a playoff game in Cleveland was Baker Mayfield. A lot of people don't remember that. That's the guy they decided to let go over a guy who took a year away from football. Entire calendar year away from football because of what they saw in the past. But I digress. Since 2022, when Deshaun Watson arrived in Cleveland, I'm going to give you some numbers that you're probably going to be a little astounded by. Total QBR, 33.1. That's dead last in the NFL since 2022. EPA per pass play, negative 0.19. That is 59th out of 60, ahead of only Zach Wilson. Sack rate, 11.2%. That is 43rd out of 44 qualifying quarterbacks. Net yards per attempt, 5.4. That's 43rd out of 44. Passer rating, 80.7. That's 39th out of 43 qualifying quarterbacks. And completion percentage, 61.2, 40th out of 44. That's been Deshaun Watson since he's been a Cleveland Brown. This is embarrassing. It's a joke. Some people will say that, they have to justify the mega deal they gave him, guaranteed him $232 million. They have to justify that. They got to play him. No, they don't. They don't have to play Deshaun Watson. He's not the guy anymore. He is not who he was in Houston. It's just it ain't happening. If it was going to happen, it would have happened the year he had a full offseason to get himself back acclimated to playing NFL football. That would be the year. Never happened. Injuries played a role. I got you. Now, I can go deeper into it about, how he went off against the Cleveland fan base and everything. And you know what? The only thing I actually side a little bit more so with Deshaun Watson is I saw that game when he tore his Achilles and how the Cleveland fan base cheered very, very, very obviously and loudly so that everyone could hear it when Deshaun Watson was writhing in pain. Think of Deshaun Watson, what you will as a person. I got nothing to say about that. What this man allegedly did, not a good look. No way around it. You want to chastise him as a person? I got no argument for you. I got you. But you got to understand, like, Jameis Winston came out and said what he had to say about Deshaun Watson. This is one of the happiest dudes that you will ever see on an NFL team. No matter if you're the starter, the backup, the dang third string. That's one of the happiest dudes. I'd love to have Jameis Winston on my team any day of the week. When that man is pissed off and talking to the media, you done did something. You done did something. I don't agree with cheering that a guy gets injured. If you want to cheer for him getting benched because he sucks and he has sucked, I got you. But the fact that you were cheering when he was writhing on the ground in pain, that's a different kind of nasty for me. I don't agree with that at all. Because had he been winning games for the Cleveland Browns and that happened, you wouldn't be hearing no cheering. See, this is the part where it's just like it's hilarious how people care about certain things. They pretend to care. Oh, he's a terrible human being. Like, I don't want him on my football team. I don't want my kids watching him. You don't give a damn about that. If he's winning football games, you don't give a damn about that. All you care about is that he's lost games and he's looked bad. And he has been bad. But can we please stop this fake outrage and this fake caring about things like that? I understand what happened. I'm not at all trying to say that it's not important, it's not significant. It matters. But for a lot of Cleveland fans who had no problem buying his jersey, had no problem showing up to the games, you don't care about that stuff. If you did, you wouldn't show up. You would boycott games. You wouldn't show up. Let's be real. Let's be dead honest about this. If you actually cared about what happened and what Deshaun Watson was accused of doing, you would not have shown up to those games. You would have boycotted and said, we are not showing up as a fan base until you get rid of Deshaun Watson. We're not going to tolerate it. If you did that, I hear you, Cleveland. I don't want to hear anything about this, crap about Cleveland deserves better. No, you don't. You over here cheering for a dude who's rolling around in pain after he just tore his Achilles. Who are you? Like, that's not I'm never going to be okay with that. I don't care what you think of me after me saying that. I don't give a damn. You can go ahead and come at me whatever you want to say. I don't care. That was wrong. But going back to football, Deshaun Watson, you have lost your mind if you think that they're cheering. Do you think they're just booing you because it's not about your performance? Are you kidding me? Todd Monken, are you kidding me right now? What have you seen in the past year and a half, or even in your short time as a head coach, that you think Deshaun Watson is the guy to go moving forward because he gives you the best chance to win? Newsflash, you ain't winning a damn thing this year. You're going to suck again. You're going to pick high in the draft again, likely to go after one of this crop of quarterbacks that everyone's been raving about. Dante Moore, Arch Manning, if he decides to go, Trinidad Chambers, the list goes on and on, John Mateer, all these guys that are coming out. And you really think that you're gonna win? You're not. Look, Deshaun Watson is done. He's finished. He's finished. He's not the guy from Houston anymore. If it ain't happening back then, it ain't happening now. So why not just start Shedeur Sanders? See what you have. If he's bad, move on. Go get the next quarterback. But what is the point of playing Deshaun Watson at this point? He has given you nothing, absolutely nothing. And you think that you still want to put him out there. It's embarrassing. It's a joke. But you know what? It's Cleveland. That you know what? That it's consistent. It's Cleveland.
It's consistent.
In my mind, I'm like, what is going on? Why are we going this direction? I'm like, wait a second.
Oh my God.
That's why. It's Cleveland.
Yeah, it's
Cleveland, congratulations. You did it again. You somehow made the situation worse. You somehow put a smile on my face to laugh. But at the same time, I'm pissed because I think Shedeur Sanders deserves better. You might as well go ahead and trade him because you don't really want him there to begin with. Andrew Berry in this front office of Cleveland can say what they want. They don't want Shedeur Sanders there. Just trade him. Get rid of him. If you're not sure about him, because there's no rhyme or reason that you're going to start this version of Deshaun Watson over a young player in Shedeur Sanders who's barely had a chance to prove it on a team that is going nowhere, absolutely nowhere. Once again, so what's the point? But Cleveland is going to Cleveland. Do your thing. Floor is yours, bro.
So I agree with mostly everything that you said. I disagree with a couple of things. The one thing I disagree with, you said, you don't know why the Browns are playing Deshaun Watson over Shedeur Sanders. Well, I can tell you why. $46 million. That's why they playing them. No, I listen. I don't agree. Two things can be true in life. I don't necessarily have to agree with something, but I understand logic. I get that. Like, yeah, we're gonna ride this out, but you have to understand something. He signed a 5-year, $230 million fully guaranteed deal. Deshaun Watson didn't want to go to the Browns. You know what made him want to go to the Browns? They offered him a fully guaranteed contract.
Real quick, Jay, real quick. Deshaun Watson's over here talking about like, this is why I put the helmet on in Cleveland. This is why I put the brown and orange on. Pride, baby. You never wanted to go to Cleveland. Who in God's name wants to go to Cleveland? I want to go to Cleveland. That's where I want to go. Cleveland's where you go to die. Odell Beckham Jr. once upon a time felt like he was in exile when the Giants traded him to the Browns. He said, "Damn it, my career might be in trouble." That's what happens when you go to Cleveland. That's what I'm saying. So Deshaun Watson is hilarious, saying like how much pride he has in the city and cares about the. You don't give a damn about the fans. They were stupid enough to give you $232 million guaranteed. So yeah, you're a smart man for taking that money. But let's cut the BS. I'm so tired of the BS. He doesn't give a damn about the fans. The apology that he made was half-assed at best. Doesn't give a damn about the fan base. You know what? He can laugh. You guys can say all you want, but like at the end of the day, I'm still getting paid.
So not to be funny, the press conference where he was mad at the fans, he was criticizing the fans as he was putting a diamond earring in his ear. I just want to put that out for the proper context. Like he was criticizing the fans as he was putting a diamond earring in his ear. So just put it out for what you saw, what I saw. I can't speak on what people saw. That's what I saw. So for me, I understand. I don't agree with it, and I'll get to that in a second. I don't agree with it, but I can understand logic of how he started, how they're starting Deshaun Watson, $46 million. Now, listen, John, you know the great thing about preseason is the excitement of football is back, so you get to watch football. I'm sure maybe not watched a full Ravens preseason game, but you caught highlights. You kept up on the rookie wide receiver from USC, Lane, the camp sensations, guys like that, looking at injuries, seeing what happened with Nate Wiggins, seeing what's up with Marlon, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so in the preseason, they play. Usually in the third and fourth quarter, you're playing against backups to backups, people who will be literally like 3-4 weeks from now will be applying for a different type of job. Deshaun Watson was 5 of 12 for 35 yards and an interception in his preseason. In the second half, Shedeur Sanders started the game. Deshaun Watson came in the second half. He was 5 of 12, 35 yards and an interception. The interception, he airmailed the receiver the ball was about. First of all, he thought he was throwing the ball to fucking Jesus because he was throwing the ball it was way high, and the ball was like 5 yards over his head. Yeah, 5 yards over his head. Okay. So for Todd Monken to say that he feels like Deshaun Watson gives him the best chance to win, to me, is absurd. Like, that's absurd. So the Browns will be last in the AFC North. We understand that. We get it. And it sucks for the Cleveland Brown fans because they've been through hell and high water in Cleveland from the 80s.
Suffer.
From the 80s to the fumble with Ernest Bynert. The drive by John. Both of these came against the Broncos. The drive by John Elway. The fumble in the AFC Championship game against the Broncos by Ernest Bynert.
I have another favorite moment I want to add in there. Let's not forget Lamar Jackson's rookie year when the Ravens had a chance to go to the playoffs. Baker Mayfield has a chance to end the Ravens season, and throws the interception to C.J. Mosley. You know what the best part about that was? Not only did I get to laugh at Cleveland, Jim Nantz, some of the most beautiful words I ever heard him say. Hearts are broken in Pittsburgh. It was a live showing of all those Pittsburgh fans and the Pittsburgh Steelers on the football field in absolute misery. I was in heaven. I rewatched that at least 10 times that night. I was like, yes. Go home in misery and cry. Go home. So Cleveland, I love you. I love you so much. You give me so many wonderful memories. That was top 5 right there, though.
Spoken as a true Ravens fan. And then let's go to the 90s. Let's not forget in the 90s, the Cleveland Browns had Bill Belichick and Nick Saban on the staff.
Oof.
And couldn't get it done. Now, I know some heavyweights in the 90s in the NFL. You had the Cowboys, the 49ers, etc. But they had Bill Belichick and Nick Saban, two of the greatest football minds ever, and couldn't get past the AFC divisional round. So for me, the Cleveland Browns they've been misery. They've been stuck in, like, this is our year, and then the bottom falls out. So I feel bad for the fan base. I feel bad for the city. To me, watching the preseason games up to this date, Shedeur Sanders has been the best quarterback. He should be the starting quarterback week 1 at Jacksonville. I understand why Deshaun Watson is starting. As Deion Sanders once said, and I'm not trying to be funny, it's ironic because Deion Sanders is Shedeur Sanders' father. But Deion Sanders had a song in the 90s called Must Be the Money. That is the reason why Deshaun Watson is starting. Must be the money.
I give him 5 games.
Oh, under that. I put you like this. If the Cleveland Browns start 0-2, which there's a likelihood chance they will, their first 2 games are in Florida. They play at Jacksonville and at Tampa. I think Jacksonville will beat them week 1. I think the Bucs will beat them week 2. Shedeur Sanders will start the first home game. He'll be the starting quarterback. By the time they get home, he'll be the starting quarterback. Deshaun Watson has to win at least one of those games to hold on to that starting job by the time they get.
At least look like you can still play.
But those days are over. Like you said, he's washed. Bro. He can't play.
It ain't about winning. Like, just look like you can still play, bro. That's all we've been looking for. We can't even get that right now.
Yeah, he can't play no more. That's over. And I said a couple months ago, the Browns had serviceable, adequate quarterback play. They're dark horse Super Bowl contender. I actually want to say that was, well, I agree with that, but the quarterbacks they have on the roster, that makes that take look terrible by me because they don't have adequate quarterback play, none whatsoever. And there's no disrespect to Shedeur Sanders. He's young, learning on the job. And like you said, the organization is not fully in love and fully invested in him as they are in Deshaun Watson. So you can see that.
Because you know what's crazy? Cleveland has talent.
No, I disagree with letting them go though. I disagree with that. No, you got to go through some hardship in life. You can't just, it's not going my way. I got to get up out of there. I disagree.
No, but I just think the organization of Cleveland doesn't want him there. That's why I say let him go. Not because Shador wants to leave.
No, I get that, but I'm saying to me, it would be the way the media was spending on him. It would be like he forced his way out.
No, I agree with that. And like, look, Cleveland's got talent, man. Like,
they young. Look at all that offensive talent. My bad, look at all that offensive talent they got. The running backs are young. Offensive line is young. The wide receivers. I love Denzel Boston. I think him and
Casey Concepcion out of Texas A&M.
Harold Fanning Jr. The tight end, yeah.
Good. He's good. Judkins and Sampson. That's a good 1-2 punch in the running back. You just got to get the quarterback right. But
it's not. Listen, John. It was easy to draft a quarterback. Everybody could do it. Get the quarterback situation right. Everybody could do it. There's a reason why there's I don't say a science, but
30 years of this terrible quarterback play. And you know what's wild? You had it, but you had it, and then you got rid of it.
I mean, hey, all I heard when Baker was there, he couldn't play. So that's all I heard. So, hey, not to be funny, I guess now, hey, I guess he could play a little bit, huh? Because the Cleveland Browns would die for that success they had for Baker Mayfield, and they weren't all that successful with him. But they at least got to an AFC divisional game. And if Rasheed Higgins don't fumble the ball out of the end zone, they might win that game.
Yeah, because they won the playoff game.
Got hurt.
Patrick Mahomes had the high ankle sprain. The game was in your hand. All you had to do was get one stop against freaking.
No. I'm not gonna blame the defense. I blame Rashaad Higgins. The defense not getting a stop. Cool, that happens. You control the football. Like on defense, it's 11 guys, right? It's 11 guys. 11 guys on it. So everybody has to play that part. Rashaad Higgins had the ball and caught the ball. You get what I'm saying? So yeah, we gotta.
I'm saying, like we talk about Myles Garrett and this vaunted Cleveland defense. All you have to do is get a stop against Chad Henne.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen. I'll do this. I'll meet you in the middle. 50-50. Defense should have got a stop, but the ball's in your hands. Yeah. John, I'll tell you like this. If I call the play, we call a basketball game, and I call the play for you, and you miss the shot, and we lose the game, yeah, I'm going to say all the right things. Like, yeah, we lost as a team, this, that, and the third. You know what I think inside. Yeah, bro just missed the shot. Like, you feel me? Like,
you know what I think. I'm probably going to take the blame for the whole damn thing. Forget the team. I should have made the damn shot. So I got you.
And the reason why is because the ball was what? In your hands. Rashaad Higgins, the ball was in your hands. So the Cleveland Browns would die for that success. Yeah, listen, it's gonna be a I don't even know what word to say. It's gonna be a watch. I guess there's only word I can say. It's gonna be a watch to see how long Deshaun Watson keeps that job in Cleveland as the Cleveland Browns starting quarterback. Ladies and gentlemen, go ahead, Jay. My bad. There you go.
No, we're good. I think I'll give Cleveland a break.
There you go. Yeah, Bob. Yes, thank you for being so nice to the city of Cleveland. They thank you. Trust me. Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time. The best segment in sports.
Let's talk about it. It's sponsored by Still Coming Up, a Baltimore-based clothing brand taking the world by storm. With their great quality, relatable, and creative designs, along with one-of-a-kind creative marketing, Still Coming Up brings their customers more than one ways to express their day-to-day journey through fashion and comfortability. Mobile delivery is available in Baltimore. Shipping is global, so head over to www.stillcomingup.com and tell them Highly Opinionated sent you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're forever grateful and thankful for Still Coming Up, official sponsor of Let's Talk About It. Shout out to those guys. Salute to those guys. They're doing great things. Keep up the great work. JG, this week's edition of Let's Talk About It. It's been a while. We haven't been able to talk about the NBA. Now's our time to talk about the NBA. So let's start off with the NBA offseason. A lot has happened since the last time we've been here. One move in particular that every sports media member has had the opportunity to speak on, including yourself, which I have not had the opportunity to speak on. And that would be James Harden resign. Oh, no, that's not it. Okay, my bad. I'm sorry. That would be LeBron James.
Well, you took another shot at Cleveland without you would have had so my thunder with that one, bro. You went right back to Cleveland with it.
I thought that was the move. I thought it was
They
talking
can't
about
help,
James
they
Harden.
can't help themselves, man. Like it's just they will find a way to make your day and put a smile on your face.
I thought we was talking about the trade for Peyton Watson. We're not talking about the trade for Peyton Watson. They gave him 4 years, $111 million. We talking about that either? Okay. Wrong James. I apologize.
That's a nice move. I do like Peyton.
I do like Peyton. I'm gonna get to that. I like that move. I like that move a lot. I actually like the fact. I'm gonna get to LeBron James in a second. I actually like the fact with the James Harden deal, it wasn't $100 million. Now 3 years, that's kicking it. And they gave him a trade kicker and all that. I'm like, oh, okay, but it was less than $100 million. And I like the move for Peyton Watson. I think that's a great move. You get another long, athletic wing defender who, if he can improve on his offensive game, that only can make the Cleveland Cavaliers better because of the defensive deficiencies of Donovan Mitchell and James Harden, along with their backcourt as well. Sam Merrill, just to name a few guys. But the biggest story that I have not had the chance to speak on is one LeBron James. And LeBron James has made his decision part 4. LeBron James has decided to go to the Philadelphia 76ers, team up with Jaylen Brown, Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid, VJ Edgecombe. They signed Anthony Simons. They signed Dean Wade, just to name a few guys on the roster. You know, we were on a show, Nothing But Net, and I was asked about LeBron James. You gave me a hard time. I said LeBron James is one of the greatest basketball players ever. He's earned the right to decide what team he wants to go and play for, where he wants to finish his basketball career at. And obviously, I stood by that. One of the reasons why I stood by that is because I genuinely did not know. I didn't want to guess where I thought he was going. I like the Philadelphia move. Now, I do have my questions about it. And the questions I have about it is very simple. One, when the money on the line, and I mean, ladies and gentlemen, you hear me say that, crunch time. The game's on the line. We're trying to win the game. Who's the glue guy of that 5 that I mentioned? Joel Embiid, LeBron James, Tyrese Maxey, Jaylen Brown, and VJ Edgecombe, because that more likely than not will be your closing 5. To me, it's hard to expect LeBron James to be the glue guy doing the dirty work at 41. Tyrese Maxey is not paid to do that. Jaylen Brown was not paid to do that. So now that leaves 2 other guys. I'll get to the big fella last. VJ Edgecombe. You know this, John. I'm not saying I like defense. One of my favorite players in the NBA is Kawhi Leonard. I believe in defense. But, John, they don't pay you to play defense. They pay you to put the ball in the basket. That's how you get paid in today's NBA. So I don't know if VJ Edgecombe has that. Let me say it. I think he has some role. I don't want to say role player, but he has some of that glue guy, dirty, hard hat, dirty work mentality in him because he did that at Baylor. So he could provide some of that. So I question who's going to be that consistent. And it doesn't have to be a consistent guy. They can change roles, nightly because it's all about winning the championship. The biggest question I have for Philly, health. Joel Embiid. We asking Joel Embiid to stay healthy. And it's so funny because 3 to 4 years ago, I was saying Joel Embiid was the best big man in the NBA over Nikola Jokic. This is when Jokic was winning the MVPs. I thought Joel Embiid was better. And you know what people kept telling me? But he's never healthy. Now the same people that were saying that, they need Joel Embiid to be, well, not need. They want/need Joel Embiid to be healthy because they want the Philadelphia 76ers to win the NBA championship. So for me, I have a question about health. I have a question about, I don't want to say roles, but I have a question about who's going to be that glue guy. And my last question, and I know he's won a championship. He ain't won a championship with this much star power around him. Nick Nurse. He won a championship with Kawhi Leonard and a bunch of very good players. Norman Powell, Pascal Siakam, Marcus Gasol, Serge Ibaka. No disrespect to LeBron James, Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, and Jaylen Brown. But they got different egos than the 4 guys that won the championship in Toronto. So Nick Nurse, he's going to have to be his best ego massager, ego pleaser. He's going to have to do it all right for that to work. I do think the Philadelphia 76ers should be one of the favorites to come out the Eastern Conference. I don't think they are the favorite. But would I be shocked to see them in the NBA Finals? I would not be. I think they have enough talent. The question again, health. glue guy, and Nick Nurse massaging those egos and playing time. If all those things could work, Philadelphia 76ers could be playing in the NBA Finals.
I mean, it looks good. Looks good on paper. VJ Edgecombe is going to be the one that's going to suffer the most out of this because, we talk about sophomore slump and everything, but now it's like you're not going to have shots, bro. Let's call it what it is. VJ Edgecombe will be the odd man out with the starting five. You think Joel Embiid is going to start passing the ball out of the post? No. Tyrese Maxey, do they pay him to pass the ball? No. They pay him to score. Jaylen Brown, I got more for that guy. You think he's there to be a point forward? No. Pay to score. LeBron James can be a playmaker, but do you think he's honestly just going to play point guard and not shoot the ball? No. So how many shots do you think BJ Edgecombe is going to start getting? I don't know. I have questions about their bench. I know Dean Wade is a very good role player. I know he's a good defender. He can shoot the ball. Anthony Simons, we've known him as a scorer, but I question their depth. I have no idea.
Yeah, I think you can question that depth for sure. I give you that, especially behind Joel Embiid, and that to me is the biggest question. Like he's not going to play 80. He's not going to play 100 games. They're not even going to allow that. Remember, I'm the same guy that said Embiid should be in bubble wrap.
You just need a big that can run the floor and catch lobs. Honestly, that actually, in my opinion, will work better with the guys on the perimeter. In my opinion, I think the offense would be a lot faster. I think it'd be more fluid. I think the basketball run and gun. But to continue, question the depth, question 3-point shooting, because you got four guys that, although they're capable of knocking down shots, they're not 3-point shooters. Tyrese Maxey's going to be the best 3-point shooter out of that starting five, shooting just a smidge under 40%. The other guys are shooting 35% from 3-point range, total career wise. They're not really 3-point shooters. So, do they become easy to guard at times if they can't get on the fast break? That defensively, I think Philly has a chance to be one of the best teams in the NBA. I think there's length everywhere. And then, by the way, if you somehow get past that length, Joel Embiid's back there waiting for you. So good luck with that. So they have a chance to be a very good defensive team. Again, if they stay healthy, that's been the absolute it's the thing that keeps them away from the finals. It has been health. That's it. It's just been bad luck with Joel Embiid. It was bad luck once upon a time with Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. Now it's, Embiid's not playing 82 games. He's not doing it. We can pencil that. I'm actually pin that in. Not even pencil it. Pin that in. He's not playing 82 games. I don't think LeBron James is playing 82 games at 41 freaking years old. I wouldn't ask him to do that, honestly, at this point. And I'm not going to ask him to be a primary defender. He doesn't have to do that now because he's got Jaylen Brown, VJ Edgecombe, and Tyrese Maxey to help him with that. He's not playing 82 games at 41 years old. So there's no way. So just what is health going to be like? What is the shooting going to be like? Is it going to be consistent enough, especially in the playoffs when teams start gearing towards your strengths, which is getting to the basket? Can you knock down enough shots on the perimeter to continue to be a threat inside and out? And then the depth. What's the depth going to look like? What are the rotations going to look like? There's a lot of things that Nick Nurse has to get together. And Nick Nurse is a champion head coach. So I'm sure we do know that he's capable of figuring this out. But this is a tall task, in my opinion. Philly looks good on paper. There's a reason why they're still not the favorites in the Eastern Conference. People still have the New York Knicks going back to the finals, and I think that's fair. They largely bring back their entire team outside of Mitchell Robinson, and Landry Shamet and everything. But they should be the favorites in the Eastern Conference. Philly should be up there in the conversation. How far they go, I don't believe that they will get to the finals this season. I think that, historically we talk about LeBron James when he changes teams. They don't win the championship in his first year. They become more competitive and have a higher chance in those following years. So I think that history repeats itself here, and the percentages point in the favor of Philadelphia. Although they should be competitive and it should be fun, should be very fun to watch. I don't think they're winning a championship this season, especially with the two monsters that are waiting in the Western Conference in the Oklahoma City Thunder and the San Antonio Spurs.
You make some great points there. Again, I definitely agree with you about the bench. The depth on the bench is definitely, I forgot about that point, so that's a great point by you. I mean, this Eastern Conference, I said a couple shows ago, I think the Eastern Conference is the first time in a while you can say it's better than the West. I mean, think about the moves we've seen in the East. We joked about Cleveland, but they got rid of Dennis Schroeder, traded him, Trey Mann. So they got him. They got they obviously signed and trade for Peyton Watson. They re-signed James Harden. The Washington Wizards obviously had the number 1 pick. They got the Boston. You get Trae Young. You get Anthony Davis. The Knicks are the NBA champions. The Pacers are coming back with a healthy Tyrese Halliburton. Toronto, the investigation with Kawhi Leonard. The NBA didn't find any wrongdoing with the Clippers. So that Kawhi Leonard trade, I think, probably more likely should be going now. So Kawhi be in Toronto. You have Orlando. We saw what Orlando did with Detroit. Even Detroit, even though I think they had a shitty offseason because they ain't really do nothing. I thought they should have signed DeMar DeRozan. Congratulations on DeMar DeRozan signing. I shouldn't say congratulations, but good for DeMar DeRozan signing with Denver. He actually can help Denver.
Congratulations is in order. DeMar DeRozan gets to play meaningful basketball again. I'm very happy for him.
Yeah, but the problem I have with that move is that I think Denver lacks athleticism and length, and he doesn't necessarily help with that. I felt like they had scoring. I just felt like now Christian Braun had to play better. He didn't live up to his contract expectations. So I got you. But
that's why they brought him in.
Well, I mean,
what they lacked. The problem with Denver is they lacked offense outside of Murray and Jokic. So if Jokic is triple team, double team, he kicks out to Murray. If Murray's off, where's the offense coming from? DeRozan, in my opinion, can solve that problem by giving yourself offense from outside Jamal Murray and Jokic. Braun is more of a defender / slasher. Can shoot the three. He's a decent corner 3-point shooter, slasher, defender, but it wasn't enough offense outside of Murray and Jokic. I think DeRozan, even at this stage in his career, can provide that much for them.
No, I'll give you that. I just thought he was much needed more in Detroit because who's the second best scorer in Detroit?
That's fair. No,
that's
fair too. Yeah.
I know who the second best scorer is on Denver.
Yeah.
I don't know who the second best scorer is on Detroit. So I do like the move as far as being relevant, and not saying Denver is not relevant, but being relevant, staying relevant in the West. I do like that move for Denver. The Miami Heat, they had a great offseason. Obviously, when I got Giannis, they got Bam. I mean, not Bam. They got Giannis. They got Bobby Portis. Klay Thompson had a buyout with the Dallas Mavericks. He signs with Miami. Your thoughts on Klay signing with Miami?
This helps. This helps a lot for Miami. I still think that I can see Miami doing a trade within the season to get another shooter out there to continue to improve the spacing with Giannis Antetokounmpo and Bam Adebayo. Bobby Portis, of course, is a capable 3-point shooter, but I don't think you're really hugging him as a shooter out there. I don't think you're doing the same thing with Bam either. If they knock it down, but you got to take away something. I don't think they're going to hug those guys from 3-point range. Klay Thompson, you better know where he is. Like, I don't care how old he is. He's not the same guy that was the primary defender and your best player anymore. He's not that, but he damn sure can shoot the basketball. Let's not forget about who this man is. This is one of the greatest shooters in the history of basketball that Miami is getting, which is perfect for how Giannis Antetokounmpo wants to play, how Bam Adebayo wants to play. They needed a shooter, a guy where it's like, you better find that guy or he's going to kill you. That's still Klay Thompson. So I think this is something that definitely helps Miami, but I still think they need at least one more shooter to help with that spacing.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think the shooting helps Miami. I think they need a, no disrespect to Davion Mitchell, but I think they need a upgrade at the guard position. I think they need a more dynamic guard. So I like Davion Mitchell, but I think he can be the guard coming off the bench. I don't think he should be a starting point guard if you're trying to, be consistent, if you're trying to win a championship.
Although Miami has been known to find gems.
Yeah, they find hidden gems. Yeah, that's one thing about Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra. I got you.
Exactly. They develop guys that we did not see coming. So I don't put it past them. Maybe they see something that they're with the guy every day. Maybe they see something we don't.
Absolutely, for sure. No, I think he can play. I'm not questioning that. I just would rather have a better lead guard than him to pair along with Klay, to go along with Bam, to go along with Giannis, to go along with Bobby Portis, to go along with Andrew Wiggins. Miami, they have a nice team. They definitely have a nice up and coming team. I don't say up and coming, but they definitely have improved their team. They firmly should be in the play. They should firmly be in the playoffs now, a top 6 seed, in my opinion, with the roster moves that they've made. So this NBA offseason has definitely been very, very interesting. Shout out to LeBron on making his decision going to the 76ers. I think, like you mentioned, the Knicks. I'm not sleeping on the Celtics. I look at what the Celtics did. I know people are not in love with them getting Paul George, but they got Mitchell Robinson to go along with Paul George. They drafted 2 guys, Chris Carneck Jr., Dylan Mitchell. They retained Jordan Walsh, Ron Harper Jr., Keita. So they got the third best odds right behind the Knicks and the Sixers in the East. Again, I like Mitchell Robinson. I thought one of the things that they were lacking was size. I like the addition of Mitchell Robinson. Again, the question for them, the Sixers the question for the Celtics is the same thing as the Sixers. Paul George healthy, Jason Tatum being healthy. That's the question. So if the Sixers, I keep saying the Sixers, if the Celtics are healthy, I don't think it's gloom and doom for the Celtics. I don't think they should be quote unquote favorites. But could I see a path where the Celtics end up in the Eastern Conference Finals? Absolutely. Right matchup for sure, no doubt about it. They would need things to go their way, and when I mainly talk about their way, is health would have to go their way.
You still got Peyton Pritchard, you still got Derek White, like along with Jason Tatum. That's a good supporting cast there, in my opinion. It's the same firepower as Jaylen Brown. No, it's not. But the Celtics, the part of the reason they were very comfortable with getting rid of Jaylen Brown, which I saw coming, but a lot of people said I was crazy. But
yeah, I'm sorry.
I digress. That's why I love doing this. But they have a lot of faith in Peyton Pritchard that he can make another jump that can rival that of Jalen Brunson when he came from the Mavs to the Knicks. I don't see that, but I think Peyton Pritchard is a very capable player. We've seen this man drop 50 off the bench, with ease. So he can be. I think he's going to be the big X factor for the Celtics team this year. It's a new look with Jason Tatum being the odds-on, no question about it, number one. But I think Peyton Pritchard could be a big X factor here.
Absolutely, for sure. I have to see how the Celtics develop. Team camaraderie gets together. NBA training camps are not that far away from starting up. JG, let's move on to the NBA schedule. Since last time we did the show, the NBA released their schedule. And as you guys see on the screen, you'll see different schedules come out. So different schedules on the screen. We'll start off with the opening week schedule. This is the first time in NBA history I can remember that there was a triple header to open the season. It's the first time ever in my lifetime I can remember an NBA season starting off at 3:05 Eastern time on a Tuesday. With Tuesday, October 20th, the Boston Celtics travel to Detroit to take on the Detroit Pistons at 7 o'clock on NBC. All three of these games will be on NBC and Peacock. The Philadelphia 76ers travel to New York to take on the New York Knicks. The New York Knicks unveil their championship banner, and the Philadelphia 76ers will be the main course as we get to watch the Knicks unveil the banner, and we get to watch the LeBron James, Jaylen Brown, Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe led Sixers go into the Garden to take on the champs. And then the triple header concludes with the rematch of the 7-game Western Conference Finals. The Oklahoma City Thunder travel to San Antonio to take on the San Antonio Spurs. Before I move on to Wednesday, your thoughts on the Tuesday night games?
That's the way to kick off a damn NBA season.
Yes, it is. It's a great way to kick off an NBA season. I'm going to just say this. To me, a lot of people's eyeballs will be on the 7 o'clock game. There is no one facing more pressure on Tuesday, October 20th than Chet Holmgren. My eyeballs will be looking at the game at 9:30 because if Chet Holmgren can't solve that mental hurdle, the Thunder in trouble. And the Thunder, as I said before, the Thunder should have made a trade for the guy that's in Miami now. They should have traded for Giannis Antetokounmpo. That game might – again, I'm not judging the playoff one game, but that game will solidify to me, has Chet got over that mental hurdle, or does he still have that mental hurdle?
You're being nice. Does Wemby still have Chet's balls? Let's be honest. We're going to find out.
We're going to find out October 20th at 9:30 on NBC and Peacock. Wednesday night, October 21st, the Inside the NBA crew returns for their second season on ESPN as the new-look Minnesota Timberwolves with Anthony Edwards and LaMelo Ball travel to South Beach to take on the new-look Miami Heat. Giannis Antetokounmpo, Bam Adebayo, Klay Thompson, and the Miami Heat. And then at 10 o'clock, the OGs, I call them, the Golden State Warriors. They re-signed Draymond Green. They basically brought back the same cast. They traveled to LA to take on the new-look Los Angeles Lakers led by Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves. That game is 10 o'clock.
Snow time.
Snow time Lakers. Can't wait to see snow time all around the arena. Thursday night, the ESPN guys return back to back. I know Charles Barkley will not like that, but the ESPN guys return 7 o'clock. The Cleveland Cavaliers, new look Cavaliers, Peyton Watson. They re-signed Donovan Mitchell. Re-signed James Harden. They have Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley. They got rid of Max Strus. He went to the LA Clippers in that 3-team trade for them to get Peyton Watson. They traveled to Philadelphia, and Philadelphia's first home game, so you know the city of Philly is going to be on fire. LeBron's first time in that arena wearing the Sixers uniform. That game is at 7 o'clock. And then at 9:30, you have two Western Conference powerhouses, the Denver Nuggets and the Oklahoma City, Thursday night on ESPN. And then Friday, Amazon Prime joins the party. The New York Knicks, the NBA champions, travel to Boston to take on the Boston Celtics at 7 o'clock. And at 9:30, the Battle of Texas. Kevin Durant, Alperen Sengun, and the Houston Rockets travel to San Antonio to take on Victor Wembanyama, De'Aaron Fox, Dylan Harper, Stephon Castle, and the San Antonio Spurs. So, JG, and ladies and gentlemen, you guys see the opening week schedule on the screen. Your thoughts on opening week, bro?
Yeah, I got a couple of things. I am interested in seeing how the Houston Rockets bounce back. Obviously, losing Fred VanVleet ended up being just a crippling blow for them as the season went on and they went into the playoffs, and eventually Kevin Durant got injured. I'm interested to see like how these guys look fully healthy now. Can we seriously take Houston serious as a contender in the Western Conference? I'm keeping an eye on them. Golden State Warriors. I said this on Club JG. What they're doing with Steph Curry is reminding me of the last years of Kobe Bryant's career with the Lakers. It's starting to look that way for me. Steph Curry still has a lot of good basketball left in him, a lot of championship caliber basketball in him, and the Golden State Warriors are failing him. I'll be real. I think they're failing him. The best you could do this offseason is Yaxel Lindenberg, a talented rookie out of Michigan, an injured Jimmy Butler, who's older anyway, and Draymond Green, who's also older anyway. He's never been a shooter, but obviously they have chemistry and everything working together. What threat do you have outside of Steph Curry? And it's just starting to look like Kobe Bryant's last few years when you had an aged-out Steve Nash who just totally broke down. Like he had nothing left. And it was obvious. Dwight Howard wasn't really what we expected. Got injured. Kobe questioned his heart, was never the same. And then Ron Artest was older. Lamar Odom ended up getting traded. He wasn't the same. Pau Gasol wasn't the same. Like they didn't really do anything to help Kobe Bryant in his last few years, to the point where it was just like, hey, we got Kobe. Come see us play. We got Kobe. It's starting to look that way with the Golden State Warriors. Hey, we got Steph, one of the greatest shooters, the greatest shooter in the history of the NBA. We got Steph. Come watch us play. We're not going anywhere. Not winning anything. We're not even close to sniffing a championship. So we're just going to waste Steph Curry's career and make money off of it. That's what the Golden State Warriors are doing right now with Steph Curry.
So for me, I think it's some parallels, but what I disagree with you is that the Warriors are actually trying, and Steph isn't getting in the way. I love Kobe, but Kobe, when they were recruiting LaMarcus Aldridge, was telling him like, "Yeah, you come to LA, I'm gonna be number one, you're gonna be number two." That's not how that's not how you really wine and dine recruiting free agents. So for me, there are some parallels, but for me, the Warriors have tried. They tried to trade for Giannis. They tried to sign LeBron. They tried to do certain things maybe that they thought would put them over the top. They traded for Jimmy Butler. They tried to do certain things. Things just didn't work out. So do right by your star then. You tried. Yeah, but it's hard. It's do right by him, and then so where is he going? Where do you think they should trade him to? I have an idea, but
a couple ideas where you can trade Steph Curry. You kidding me?
Okay, well, where would you trade him
to? Number one, the Boston Celtics.
Okay.
You put Steph Curry with Jason Tate. What? You got something in Boston. You pull something like that off. Trade him to Boston. Miami could use him. Or Steph and Clay with Giannis in Miami. Come on now, that would change a lot.
What are you trading? What would Miami trade to get Steph?
I can figure that part out. We're gonna be future draft picks. It can be Davion. You figure that out. You got a chance to get Steph Curry. You'll figure it out, my friend.
No, I get that, but I'm saying the teams that really could use him are the best teams in the league, and they don't want to give up, the best of the best assets that they have to get him. So
that's fair. That's fair. Yeah.
I give an example.
Use him. Denver Nuggets to use Steph Curry.
I give an example. and people ain't never think about it because they stacked at the guard position. But think about this. Can you imagine? And they're not going to do this because they already believe in Dylan Harper. Can you imagine if the Spurs could end up with Steph Curry and they just traded De'Aaron Fox and like Keldon Johnson? So now you got Steph Curry, you got Stephon Castle, and Dylan Harper. And think about this. And that would add years to Steph. That would add years to Steph Curry's career because he only has to play with so much defense. Because I'm gonna just funnel you to this fella, and then he's just gonna block the sun. So what I'm saying is the best teams could use Steph. You get what I'm saying? Like there's nobody that's gonna give a Godfather offer footsteps. So I don't know what's doing right by him is trying to put a team around him to win, and they just haven't been able to do that for whatever reason. Ladies and gentlemen, as you guys see on the screen, the NBA Christmas Day schedule. All 5 NBA Christmas Day games will be on ABC and ESPN. We start the NBA Christmas Day schedule with a rematch of the 2026 NBA Finals. The San Antonio Spurs travel to New York to take on the New York Knicks. The game is at 12 p.m. on ABC and ESPN. At 2:30, the Miami Heat. Giannis Antetokounmpo travels to Boston to take on Jason Tatum and the Boston Celtics. At 5 o'clock, the Philadelphia 76ers travel to Los Angeles to take on the Los Angeles Lakers. LeBron takes on the Lakers at 5 o'clock. At 8 o'clock, the Oklahoma City Thunder, SGA, travels to Minnesota to take on Anthony Edwards and the Minnesota Timberwolves. And at 10:30, we have the Denver Nuggets and the Golden State Warriors as your nightcap of the NBA on Christmas Day. Your thoughts on the NBA on Christmas Day schedule?
Stellar as ever. Good matchups there. Obviously, big one is probably going to have the most eyeballs is the Sixers versus the Lakers. LeBron James comes back to play against his son, Bronny. I'm just kidding. He comes back to play his old team in the Lakers, and let's see where these teams are at this early point in the season by Christmas. I'll be very interested in that one.
People say I'm petty. You just petty for no reason. You ain't even have to do all that. It's just petty for no reason. Lord have mercy. Y'all say I'm petty. Okay. I shouldn't say last, but one of the big holidays that the NBA celebrate, probably one of the biggest holidays that they celebrate is MLK Day. You have 4 MLK games on national TV. Start off at 12 o'clock. You have the Detroit Pistons and the Cleveland Cavaliers. At 2:30, you have the Philadelphia 76ers in Atlanta to take on the Atlanta Hawks. At 5 o'clock, you have the Minnesota Timberwolves and the New York Knicks. And at 7:30, you have the Houston Rockets and the Memphis Grizzlies. The 12 o'clock game, Detroit and Cleveland, is on NBC and Peacock. The 2:30 game, Philadelphia and Atlanta, is on NBC and Peacock. The 5 o'clock game between Minnesota and the New York Knicks is on NBC and Peacock. The 7:30 game between the Houston Rockets and the Memphis Grizzlies is on Peacock and NBC Sports Network. Let me just make this point about the NBA. Sometimes we give the NBA a hard time, but the NBA does a great job in honoring MLK Day. So I definitely look forward to seeing the great things they do this year to honor the legendary Martin Luther King Jr. And the last schedule release part we'll have is the NBA Finals rematches. The Knicks and the Spurs, obviously one's in the West, one's in the East. These two teams, depending on how things go, you never know. Maybe they could meet again in the NBA Finals this upcoming season. But the first matchup, as we stated, is on Christmas Day, Friday, December the 25th. That game is 12 o'clock on ABC and ESPN. And the second matchup is Sunday, March the 7th. That matchup will be in San Antonio. New York travels to San Antonio. And that game will be Sunday Night Basketball on NBC. So, JG, we're looking forward to the NBA season. Should be a great NBA season. Been a fun and exciting NBA offseason. Again, can't wait for the NBA season to tip off. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a break here on Highly Opinionated. We will be right back.
This episode is sponsored by Hugo. Hugo, however we go on, a reminder that no matter what challenges life throws at you, you keep moving forward. It's more than clothing. It's a mindset built on resilience, perseverance, and never quitting. Life gets tough, but however we go on, no matter the circumstances, check out Hugo and wear the message, because quitting is never the option.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Highly Opinionated. We want to thank the great Coach Al Seamonson for coming on the show. Truly an honor to have him on. Former linebacker coach at the University of Maryland, John's alma mater. We had some technical difficulties in the interview. Please bear with us during that. Enjoy the interview with Coach Al Seamonson. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Highly Opinionated. As you can see, we have a special guest. It's a privilege and an honor to have former defensive back, linebackers, defensive outside linebackers coach. He's coached at the University of Wisconsin. He's coached at Army. He's coached at the Citadel. He's coached at Bowling Green. He's coached at the University of Maryland. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Coach Al Seamonson to Highly Opinionated. What's up, Coach? How are you?
Well, hey, happy to be with you guys. Thanks for having me on, and hopefully, we'll have a nice little session here.
Absolutely, Coach. It's a privilege and an honor to have you on the show. We've been looking forward to this. You're our first guest on our returning episode. So again, privilege and an honor to have you on the show. JG.
Well, thanks.
Coach, I'm looking at your resume here. Obviously, you spent a lot of time at the University of Maryland. I'm a Terp myself, so this is definitely awesome to get your perspective for the Maryland football team. Coached under Coach Rout, the Coach Fridge. What would you say was like the most critical turning point in your coaching career? Like when you look back and it was like, hey, that was a really pivotal moment in my coaching career that really elevated me to where I am today.
Well, there's probably a few different things along the way, but one of the big breaks for me was when I was at Bowling Green, and I went there for 1 year after being at the Citadel for 13 years, and I'm going. The head coach at Bowling Green, Gary Blackney, at the time, resigned, essentially effective at the end of the season. In the first year I went to Bowling Green, I'm going, man, I just left the place I was at for 13 years. I go to another opportunity, and the head coach resigns effective after the season. I'm going to be here for 1 year. It's going to be a 1 year wonder. But in reality, even though I would have been happy to stay at Bowling Green, when Urban Meyer came in there, he brought all his own guys. So essentially I was out. But at the same time, some things were transpiring here at Maryland that allowed me to get there. A couple guys that I coached with earlier in my career, in particular at the Citadel, Dave Salazzo, and then the head coach at the time, Charlie Taff, both got hired by Ralph to come to Maryland. And the head guy at Bowling Green at the time, Gary Blackney, he got hired by Ralph to come to Maryland as a defensive coordinator. And I'm going, well, he just hired two coordinators that are good friends of mine, as well as a friend of mine as the D-line coach. Maybe I'm going to get a chance to go to Maryland too. And sure enough, that happened. And it was probably a great thing that I didn't get a chance to get retained at Bowling Green, because I went to a much better situation. And it was the first year of the 10 years that we were there. We had great success right away, winning the ACC in 2001. We actually have a 25-year anniversary of that coming up this year for, I think, Maryland's Wisconsin game, second week in November. Nice. So, unfortunately, since I'm not coaching, I'll be there at that and get a chance to see a lot of those guys. But, the thing that happened in that first year, 2001, to allow us to win the ACC title in our first year there, is that the players that were returning were hungry. They had been there. They've been through a couple, frustrating seasons as far as not winning enough to get a bowl game. But they immediately trusted us. Right? That would be the biggest thing I could say. Ralph came in there. We came in there as a staff. A couple guys were retained from the previous staff, in particular, Mike Loxley and James Franklin. But those guys trusted us. They believed what we said. And then we had a little proof in the performance early in the season. I think it was the first play of the game defensively against North Carolina that year. They went 77 yards for a touchdown. I'm going, man, this could be a rough first year. Well, after that, we shut them out. We scored a bunch of points, and every week just grew and grew. And we were undefeated up until the point we played at Florida State and really had a chance, but didn't get it done, and ended up, I think, at that time it was 11-game season. So I think we were 10-1 before we played the Orange Bowl against Florida down there.
So, Absolutely, Coach. You guys are 10-2. You lost. Your only two losses were to top 10 teams, Florida and Florida State. You lost to Florida in the Orange Bowl.
That's right.
Just talk about the coaching staff that you mentioned. You mentioned James Frank and Mike Loxley. Just talk about the coaching staff that Ralph Friedgen had, and what do you think was Coach Ralph Regent's greatest coaching attribute?
It was a good initial staff. I mean, obviously we had some cohesiveness with the defensive side of the ball because Gary Blackney was the head guy at Bowling Green. We had a defense there that worked well for us defensively there. We brought it to Maryland, and Dave knew it. I knew it. Gary knew it. So, we had some coaching on the defensive side of the ball that allowed us to gel pretty well right away. And obviously that developed as the season went along, and the same thing, the trust and belief, and came out in performance. The guys again there were good. They just hadn't had that success yet, and it built on it. Now, when you ask about what's Ralph Regent's key ingredients to his success, well, he's always been an offensive guy, all right, and he hired a guy that was a really good offensive coach too. Could I work for him when he was the head coach at the Citadel? And he had gone to Canada and had success there too. But Charlie Taft could gel into a lot of different offenses, kind of run based. He ran even the wishbone at one time and had success with that. But goes to Canada and throws the ball all over the place and has a lot of success there too. So, there was a combination of good things that allowed our offense to have success. James and Locks were both carryovers on the offensive side of the ball, so they knew the personnel there pretty well. And, I think everybody got into the right place. But between Ralph being an offensive guru as an offense coordinator at Georgia Tech, prior to that, they blended well together, him and Charlie Taft and the rest of the offensive staff. And, they had success too. But a lot of people look at Ralph and go, man, he's grumpy and burly and, not very outgoingly friendly in his demeanor. But I always tell everybody, he was a teddy bear. He really, was a great coach for the players. The players really liked him. It was just a good blend. The persona and the reality were a little bit different to me with Ralph. He had that demeanor, but the players liked him, and he loved the players. He bent over backwards for the players to earn their trust and belief. And when you have success, those things kind of continue to gel like it did in 2001.
Coach, you're a Big Ten guy. You coached at the University of Wisconsin, coached at University of Illinois, and obviously spending your time at Maryland, even though technically they were an ACC school, they're a Big Ten school now. In your opinion, what makes the Big Ten so special?
Well, it's got a great history of success, and you've got some marquee programs that have been continued successful, every year in the Ohio States and Michigans. But as you see now with Indiana and, some of the other teams think can be the next Indiana as well. But I saw it coming a little bit even at Illinois while I was there. I'm going, hey, we got a good nucleus here. We're on the right side of the Big Ten division-wise because we don't have Ohio State and Michigan on our side. But, if we can put it together here, we can beat Nebraska. We can beat Iowa. We're as good as them, and, we can be successful too. Now, we didn't get to finish what we got started there for, a couple of different things involving the AD and the head coach. But I really felt we had a chance to win, the Big Ten West at that time. Now it's 18 or whatever, so it's a little bit different. But we got a lot of marquee teams now in the Big Ten, or have it since with the additions of Washington and Oregon and those guys. And the conference has only gotten stronger. Obviously Penn State came in there at 1.2, and it's just a competitive league, top to bottom. I know the SEC would say the same thing about, their conference top to bottom. Obviously a lot of skilled talent in the South. More of it stays South and comes north to the Big Ten. But the Big Ten gets their share too, and they adapt the type of offenses or defenses they have to allow them to be successful program. All right, so I don't know. It's kind of across the board. It's a little bit different. The Iowas are different than the Ohio States, but they've had a lot of success, winning as well.
Yeah, JG, I'll let you go. Let me just make this point. I think we look at especially in college football, obviously that's your lane. We look at if your team doesn't win 10 games or you don't win, you're not in the college football playoff now. Back then it was, the big six BCS bowls, Orange Bowl, Sugar Bowl, Rose Bowl, etc. That you had an unsuccessful season. I
Yeah.
disagree. Some schools you're not really meant to win the national championship. Now, Indiana recently has somewhat changed people's thought process on that, but Iowa more likely than not probably not built enough to win a college football national championship the way that roster is set up. And that's okay. So winning 9-10 games with Kirk Ferentz who's been there for almost 25, 30 years, that's success. He's getting young men from college to being successful men in life. So I think just because you don't win the national championship doesn't mean it's a failure.
Yeah.
So, Coach, sticking with Maryland, second-year quarterback Malik Washington, under another year under Mike Locksley, has come under a little bit of scrutiny. A lot of Maryland fans are kind of like thinking that Mike Locksley should no longer be the coach here. But for the first time this season, it looks like Maryland football has some optimism here that, there are experts out here saying that Maryland could be that surprise sneaky team in the Big Ten this year. Not quite like Indiana, but like a team that you probably wouldn't see coming. Like they think maybe they can win 8 or more games, actually. What are your thoughts on this year's Maryland team under second-year quarterback Washington?
Well, I can see the same optimism probably a lot of fans could see at this point going into the season. It's been probably a frustrating last couple of years at 4-8 and not being able to finish a few games last year, but being close. My guess is from what I've seen, and I try to watch some of those games, is they were a little closer than you would think. Obviously didn't finish a couple of those games out, but I can see the optimism going into this season. I don't know all the position groups as well as I would if I was there coaching with them, but what I see in Malik Washington is that he's a pretty good quarterback. Obviously, he was trained well over there at Archbishop Spalding with Kyle Schmidt, who's at Maryland now, coaching the tight ends. Obviously, I think that was a good by Locks getting him there. But the proof obviously is going to be in the performance again. Obviously Locks has got the title of being a pretty good recruiter in the greater DC and Maryland area. But those recruiting battles transfer into wins at some point, and establish that identity that hey, I can and we can win in the Big Ten on a yearly basis. So we'll see what happens this year. Obviously it worked out for him to get a chance to stay around, and from what I can see, they got a pretty good nucleus in the season. But it's a crazy 12-game schedule with injuries and everything else that comes into play. You lose a couple of guys here and there at the wrong spots, it can devastate the team. You gotta all those other little things right. Win the turnover battle. Don't beat yourself in the kick or whatever it might be. But a lot of factors come into play and can affect the long run finish of the season record-wise.
Absolutely. Maryland, to me, I think they have a sneaky tough schedule. They play Hampton, they play UConn the first 2 games. So let's say they win those 2 games, they'll be 2-0. But then they play Virginia Tech. They play, I think UCLA will be sneaky this year. They play Nebraska. They play at Nebraska. They play at Ohio State. And they have a game at home against Illinois. Then they play Wisconsin. Illinois, then they're at Purdue, Wisconsin at home. They travel 3,000 miles away to go play USC, and then they end the season at home against Penn State. So for me, I think that Big Ten, man, the Big Ten merger with obviously Maryland coming to the Big Ten from the ACC, and then the West Coast teams coming from the Pac-12 to the Big Ten, is tough sledding. Definitely tough sledding. So we'll definitely I think Maryland definitely be bowl eligible. I think they can find a way to win 6 games, but anything above that, man, I think it's be a little tough, man, because the teams that they're playing, USC, they got playoff aspirations. Lincoln Riley, it's kind of do or don't for him this season. So you got Nebraska with Matt Rule, wants to make a name for himself. He thought last season was going to be that. You got my man Brett Bielema at Illinois. I love him. He's a true football coach. His team is going to be physical, line of scrimmage, offensive and defensive line. So that's just to name a few. And then I think one of the big sneaky early big games is Virginia Tech and Maryland. We got James Franklin coming back to Maryland. So if James Franklin want to get that program at Virginia Tech, want to get it off at the right start, want to, get that ship rock, get that rocket, taking off on the right, on the right path, the right launching path. So Maryland, to me, they have a more tough schedule. Go ahead, Coach.
Virginia Tech is bringing back a lot of guys like that James Franklin recruited at Penn State. So a lot of those like top recruits that were coming to Penn State followed Franklin. Yeah. So there's already expectations there, I believe, in Blacksburg.
But yeah, Coach, just get back. Maryland, again, they got a tough schedule. Virginia Tech, I know obviously James Franklin, he wants to get that rocket ship on the right launching path down at Virginia Tech. So your thoughts on Maryland's schedule and your thoughts on your former colleague, James Franklin, at the University of Virginia Tech.
Well, kind of like you're saying there, he had a rough finish at Penn State. He took the Virginia Tech job. Obviously, he's got a great history. He's trying to make that transition, get them back to where they used to be in the history that Virginia Tech's had there. So it's a huge game. I think it's game 3 when they come to College Park and play Locks in Maryland. But yeah, that's a big game for both of them. They've had a couple of battles previously when James was still at Penn State and Locks was at Maryland. But it'll be an interesting game. Certainly it's a big win for whichever team wins that game because it's early in the season. And I think that would be important for Maryland because they got to build up some wins in that first half of the season before they get to that stretch coming up on the back half, like you said, with Illinois and Wisconsin coming into College Park. So, the more wins you can get early, the better. And then the faster you can get to 6, every win after that is icing on the cake, and a better bowl game. So pretty big in season, battle there, game 3 with Virginia Tech and Maryland.
Absolutely. We definitely can't wait for that. Coach, you coach around some coaching masterminds, from Tom Beckman at Illinois, Bill Cubitt at Illinois, Ralph Friedgen at Maryland, Jim Young, at Army, Charlie Tapp, you mentioned earlier, at the Citadel, Don Powers at the Citadel, George O'Leary at UCF. Just talk about the coaches that you coached around, coaches, what you've learned from them, what you tried to take from them from one job to the next, and how they made you, I don't say made you because no one can make you, but again, just what you've taken from them to, to further your coaching career.
Well, yeah, you gain a little knowledge from all those guys that have been around a little bit longer than you when you're a young coach and coming into it. But one of the coaches that I probably learned the most from, that I really enjoyed working with, was at Maryland, and that was Don Brown. Obviously Gary Blackney was there prior to him, and we carried over a lot of success with the defensive package that we ran at Bowling Green, even though I was only there for 1 year. But a lot of zone blitz pressure. You had a guy like Merriman dropping as well as rushing. Obviously, the more you rush him, probably the better. But Don Brown's package at Maryland in I guess 98 and 99 in particular. 2009 and 2010 in particular, was a little bit of a new difference for me because it was one word meant it all. It told you where to line up, what coverage you in, what the pressure was, and no huddle offenses, going fast and getting to the line of scrimmage in a hurry. You had to match that, but you still had to have enough defense to be able to go against what they were trying to do. So you had to have parts, you had to have your pressure parts. But deep in 2009 and 10 with Don Brown at Maryland.
Okay.
After that, Don ended up at Michigan and Arizona, and ended up back at UMass, where he kind of started before he came to Maryland. As the head guy, kind of a unique process for him, and that ending kind of part of his career as well.
Absolutely. No, I remember Don Brown at the University of Maryland with Jim Harbaugh. I'm a Jim Harbaugh guy. I love Jim Harbaugh. I love him. I loved him at Michigan. I loved him at his previous guys before that. Whether it's Stanford, he obviously coached in the NFL, played in the NFL, but coached in the NFL with San Francisco before he got back with the LA Chargers now. So I love Jim Harbaugh. I love every coach on Jim Harbaugh's staff, from Don Brown. He had Jesse Minter, who's the new Ravens coach now, Mike McDonald, who just won the Super Bowl in Seattle. So Jim knows his coaches.
Yep.
And, just for you to be around, again, I didn't even mention Don Brown, but just be around so many coaching geniuses, just, I mean, again, it's just the osmosis that you learned. It's probably really, truly overwhelming that, for a peanut brain fan like myself, for you guys to be talking defenses the way you guys talk, the way you guys sum up a defense and attack the ball and attack with pressure. It's really, truly amazing. What do you think about defense the way it's played now? Obviously, defense has changed from when you started coaching college in the early '80s to when you stopped in the late 2000s. What do you think? How can you build a successful defense in today's age?
I think even back then and even today, to me, you always got to stop the run. Whatever it is, the teams that win at the end of the season, that win in the playoffs, win in the NFL, they can all run the ball, especially in December and so forth. So I still been a big believer, and you got to. If you don't stop, you do, you got to involve whatever package you are on the down. You could be forward. Somebody that says one or the other. Still have it because nobody can do down or four down, pass rush situation, anything else. But whatever you do, you got to be able to run. You still got to have the guys on the edges, be able to set it. You got to be able to fit in between the tackles. You got to be good tackles. You got to have all those fundamentals. Things haven't changed since the 20s. The game, maybe because we're all strong. You got to be able to back and more fast paced than that, because again, everybody's got those zone elements, the power read, the zone read, and be able to throw the RPOs off of that. So, again, I think you got to stop the run first. So you better stop the runs off of those actions before you decide whether to try to defend them with zone coverage or coverage. But stop the run, and get your best guys on the field.
Yeah, so, Coach, my last question. Sean Merriman, as we know, top 15 pick, very notable from the University of Maryland, went on to have a pretty damn good career with the Chargers. Just real quick, who were the top, if you had to pick, who were like the top 5 guys that you've been around that you enjoyed coaching the most?
Oh, man. That's a tough call, but definitely had some good ones. And Sean would probably have to be number one. He's a guy that came to Maryland, from the day he set on campus, he was all about making it to the NFL. The NFL, I've got the ability to get there. And I told him, hey, I'm going to try to help you get there as fast as you can. But some of the abilities to play the next, I know first rounder as a junior, I wouldn't have for sure at that, because he had to learn the college level too, especially playing against the run, going against those offensive tackles in a 3. He's got some obviously our 4-down package. He would be a 5 technique or a 6 technique too, and had a lot to learn in the run game part. But he had all the tools. He developed well over the 3 years. I feel like I did a great job of help developing him over 3 years to get him to be a first-round pick after 3 years, and top, I guess, picks and draft that year. But he had great success. I always call him Lights. Obviously his nickname's Lights Out for the dance that he does and all that. But he had a great career. I saw him here at a Maryland game a couple back. His with him then, being recruited, and he's only in Baltimore. He was a kid at Illinois. Well, I had 3 or 4 other kids at Illinois when I was there after Maryland too. But Juan Smoot, I called him DJ Smoot back at the time, but he was a lot like suddenness to him. Wasn't the strongest when it came to the run game stuff. With Jackson about 4 or 5 years, then went to Buffalo, I think, a year, maybe just 1 year at Buffalo, and then he's back with Jacksonville now. So about 7th or 8th year in the NFL. But he was one of those guys that I knew had a chance to get to the NFL based on his development as well. I'm particularly guys that played for us at Maryland that weren't heavily recruited. Two guys in particular, David and Oku, walk on at Maryland. And at one point, I know Moses at one point would be one of the guys, man, I'm scholarship. I want to be able to play and know that I could play at the ACC Big Ten level at Maryland. Well, not only did he did that, but I think he was 7th round pick by the Eagles, and he played about 7 or 8 years in the NFL himself. But Holloway, maybe not as long career to start out on, did a great job and had a very successful career there in the early 2000s. But I'm most proud of nowhere. I helped them a chance to have a great career, having a shot to play in the NFL, which everybody knows there, the NFL, not for long. I mean, Sean made it through, I think, about 7 years, but a guy like Vernon Davis played 15, and those guys used to battle against each other in practice every day. But those are a handful of guys, but there's a lot of them that you coach, and you just hope to maximize on all of them. There's guys I've recruited that played in the NFL too, but those are kind of special as well. You didn't coach them necessarily in college, but you recruited them to get them there, and then they had a chance to play at the next level too. So that's rewarding as well.
Absolutely, Coach. Well, Coach, we'll get you out of here with this last question. I know you miss coaching, so we'll let the world know. What do you miss the most about coaching?
Well, when it's all you've lived for about plus years from the time you finished up playing, every
Hey,
last
Coach,
NFL, man, I would have won. So lifestyle never changed from a player to a coach, and all of a sudden, it's 35 years later, and 1 year runs in the next. But I personally enjoy trying to make every player that plays for me the best they can be. I want to maximize potential. Do I want them to be good players? Yes. Do I want them to be good people, husbands, people in the community and leaders in the rest of the world? Yes. Yeah, you hope that's all part of their development as a player that works and plays for you. But as a football player, I want that guy to have maximum opportunity, whatever that role is. Maybe the most he can be is a special teams player, but can he get on the field and help you win games? I feel like I'm helping maximize his potential to be able to play at the college football level.
Absolutely, Coach. Well, Coach Al Seamonson, it was a privilege and an honor to have you here on Highly Opinionated. We look forward to having you back. Hopefully, in the future, we can have you back in the recurring role. We'll talk about that, Coach. All love. Thank you for coming on the show. We appreciate you for giving us. We appreciate you for you giving us some of your amazing coaching experience and giving us some of your coaching time, man. We greatly appreciate you.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it, man.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on, and we'll have to do it again.
Yes, sir. We're looking forward to having you back. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick break. You're watching Highly Opinionated. We'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for watching this episode of Highly Opinionated. This commercial is brought to you by Kitty Candy Treats, the one-stop shop for all your snacking sensations. From our sweet and salty kettle corn mix to the creamy, flavorful Italian ice to that airy crunch from the freeze-dry you'll never forget. Kitty Candy has you covered. Stay tuned for our fall freeze-dry menu coming soon. Place orders directly via Instagram at kitty_candy. Snack with us soon. Shop Kitty Candy Treats. Welcome back to Highly Opinionated, ladies and gentlemen. JG, guess what's back, brother? College football. Week 0 is here. We've waited. long enough. Last time we seen a college football game, the University of Indiana won their first national championship, capping off an undefeated season, led by now Raiders quarterback Fernando Mendoza, number 1 pick in the 2026 NFL draft, and head coach Kurt Signetti. So that's the last time we've seen a college football game. They defeated Miami 27-21 in the national championship. Week 0, majority of the heavy hitters play next week in week 1, so we look forward to that. But we are here at week 0, and we have 3 games that we're going to decipher and pick. And let's start off with North Carolina and TCU. North Carolina and TCU play Saturday at 12 o'clock on ESPN. This is a rematch of the first game that happened last season on a Monday night when TCU, number 25 TCU, defeated North Carolina 48-14. That was Bill Belichick's first game as a North Carolina coach. North Carolina scored the first 7 points of the game, and then TCU decided to put belt the ass, and they beat them 48-14. That really is basically what happened. North Carolina this season is led by quarterback Billy Edwards Jr. He has had over 1,000 career snaps in college. TCU is led by quarterback Jaden Craig. He played 3 seasons at Harvard. He's a senior. So, JG, who wins? Who starts their season 1-0? Bill Belichick in North Carolina or Sonny Dykes in TCU?
First off, before I get to the game, can we get like a more fun game for the game in Dublin, Ireland? Like, I gotta be honest here. Like Josh, I can't do it, man. Like, the last 3 games that we've had have been underwhelming at best.
I thought the Florida State and Georgia Tech game. I thought that was good.
That's cute. But can we get like a more like marquee game to start the season off? I mean, like it's very like, man, kind of like I feel about this game, if being totally honest, man. But I got TCU winning. You know, this is an important year for Bill Belichick in North Carolina. Belichick was here to revitalize this program and make them contenders. Let's see how much better they've gotten under yet another full year under the great Bill Belichick. Which direction are they heading? I think this is actually a pivotal year for North Carolina football, but I got TCU winning this game in comfortable fashion, in my opinion.
All the smart money says TCU. I get it. I'm gonna take North Carolina just really? Because I think Bill Belichick. I think North Carolina's had a turbulent offseason. You know, Michael Lombardi, he's been placed on administrative leave. So for me, I think Bill now has had a recruiting class. So now you can't blame the recruiting class. I think North Carolina finds a way to squeak this game out. Funny things happen in Ireland. Again, I mentioned Georgia Tech defeating Florida State a couple seasons ago. Last season game came down to the wire. Interception at the end, Iowa State and Kansas State. So for me, TCU's favored by 7.5. That over-under is 47.5. I think North Carolina finds a way to shock people over in Dublin, Ireland. Give me North Carolina. Billy Edwards Jr. makes a play at the end of the game, throw a touchdown pass. Give me the Tar Heels. I think they find a way to get the dub in Dublin, Ireland, and come back to the States 1-0. JG, our next game we're going to preview. North Carolina State travels to Virginia to take on the Virginia Cavaliers. Virginia's favored by 5.5. The over-under is 53.5. I'll start us off with this. So, you know, John, in life, you want people that you know to be successful, right? You want people that friends, family, people that believe in what you got going on, etc. So we had episode 67. We had a young man by the name of Jayon Williams, quarterback of St. Francis. And that was his senior year, and he committed to the University of Virginia. So for me, I'm biased. I want all the people that's come on this show to be successful. I'm not going to run from that or hide from that. I know North Carolina State is led by C.J. Bailey at 25 touchdowns, 9 interceptions last season, 6 touchdowns on the ground. This is his third season at NC State. My guy Jayon, he's a freshman, so he won't be the starting quarterback. The quarterback will be from Virginia, will be Bo Prabula. You remember him from Penn State. Last season, he was at Missouri, so he has big college football experience, and he won't be new to this. So with the Jayon Williams factor, Virginia has a great coach in Tony Elliott. We saw them in the ACC championship game last year against Duke. They lost. They lost that game, but for Virginia to be in the ACC championship game to me is a success for Tony Elliott. So I'm biased. Shout out to my guy Jayon. We love you on the show, Jayon. Do great things this year, brother. I'm taking Virginia. Give me the Cavaliers. Woo-ha.
Wahoo.
Oh,
it's all good. You'll learn.
Woo-ha. I'm sorry. Wahoo. I messed up the whole thing. I'm sorry. Wahoo. My bad. I'm sorry. I thought it was you. What did I say?
You said woo-ha.
Woo-ha. Yahoo.
Yeah, you have me at Baltimore. Anybody that's coming from Baltimore that is going out of college football, I'm definitely going to support them. So I'm rolling with the kid. I'm rolling with UVA, even though he's not the starting quarterback yet. But I'm sure he's on his way.
Oh, he's on his way. He's on his way. Jayon, great things at St. Francis. Even if he doesn't play quarterback at Virginia, I think he will, but he'll find his way on the field somehow, some way. So we both like the Virginia Cavaliers to win a game at home and defeat NC State. Last game we're going to preview, the Memphis Tigers, led by new head coach Charles Huff, who, by the way, is from Maryland. He's from Denton, Maryland. They take on UNLV, led by head coach Dan Mullen. This is his second season at UNLV. He was 10-4 in his first season. UNLV lost the Mountain West Championship game on the road to BYU. This game is Saturday night, 10 o'clock on Fox. JG, I'll let you start us off with this. Who wins Saturday night on Fox, late night between Memphis and UNLV?
I thought Memphis lost a lot of talent last year in means of the NFL draft and everything. I think UNLV is in better shape to win this game. I think UNLV is the tougher place to play as well. So I'm going to roll with UNLV here.
UNLV.
No.
UNLV is favorite in this game. Let me go back to that. UNLV is favored in this game. I think they're favored by 5.5. Yes, sir. UNLV is favored by 5.5. The over-under is 56.5. UNLV has 9 returning starters, 3 on offense, 4 on defense. You pick UNLV. I am going to take UNLV as well. I think UNLV is a sneaky college football playoff contender team this year. Keep your eye out on the UNLV Rebels. I think Dan Mullen has the momentum coming from the first year going into his second season. Again, remember, there is a group of 5 team that makes the college football playoff team. So that's college football playoff. So that's Boise State, UNLV, teams like that. I think UNLV is a sneaky contender to make the college football playoff. Give me the UNLV Rebels led by Dan Mullen. Again, 4 starters on defense, 3 on offense. One thing I'll never question about Dan Mullen, he'll find a quarterback situation. He'll get that right. We saw him as an offensive coordinator at Florida. We saw him at Mississippi State with Dak Prescott. He'll find a way he'll get the quarterback situation right. Give me the Rebels, man. I'm taking UNLV as well. This game Saturday night at 10 o'clock will be called on Fox by the legendary Tim Brando and the great Devin Gardner, former quarterback at Michigan. Should be a great week 0 of college football. Can't wait to watch. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you guys for watching a jam-packed episode, returning episode 93 of the best sports show out, Highly Opinionated. For the best editor, the best producer, the best guy here on the show, Ross, my guy, the best co-host in the game, the host of the Club JG podcast. What's new on the Club JG, bro?
Yeah, man, football season is back. College football is back. The NFL is back. I am going to, and you know me, I got to give my honest take on the 2026 Baltimore Ravens. I am going to tell you guys exactly how I feel about this team and what realistically I could expect.
Realistically, what you can expect from the Baltimore Ravens. Looking forward to that. Everybody go like, follow, subscribe, my brother over there at the Club JG podcast. He's doing amazing work. You held me down when we were on vacation. I watched definitely kept up with sports news. So, ladies and gentlemen, just want to give you guys a fair warning. We are back. We're coming back to take our rightful place as the number one sports show out. So, again, for the best editor, best producer, the best guy handling the show, Ross, the best co-host in the game, my guy, the club, JG, my guy, JG, I am merely Josh. We will see you guys next week for episode 94. We are out.